Hi there, I'm Nick Barraclough, President at AKCP, and today I'd like to introduce to you our tank level sensor. This tank level sensor operates on the principle of pressure. So the sensor is suspended inside of the tank. The tank can be filled with fuel or other types of liquids, diesel and gasoline or kerosene. And you select the type of liquid from the user interface of the Sensor Pro Plus when you're setting up the sensor. It's available in 2, 5, 10, and 15 meter versions calibrated for that depth of tank, and it's suitable for both linear and non-linear tanks. It comes with mounting hardware already provided for you to connect this up to the tank. We'll take a closer look at how this works later on in the video. But for now, let's take a closer look at the sensor and the interface box. So here's the tank depth pressure sensor. This one is calibrated for 2 meters depth. And this interface box here connects the sensor back to the Sensor Pro Plus monitoring device, and the other end connects to the actual sensor itself. And we've got this mounting plate here. So you drill a hole into the tank, you suspend this inside of the tank, and this together with a gasket and the cable gland here will seal that up and make sure that your tank is not going to be compromised and outside contaminants can get in. So as I said earlier, the sensor comes with different lengths of cable. So if you are going to be installing in a 1 or 2 meter or less size tank, then you would require the 2 meter version. And if the tank is above 2 meters but less than 5, then you would get the 5 meter version and so on. And they're available up to 15 meters. Now we'll take a look at a 3D animation that gives you an idea as to how this works and how it's installed. So now you've seen how this is installed, I'm going to give you a little bit of detail about the operational principle. So this is a tank depth pressure sensor. This sensing element goes into the bottom of the tank, and it should be suspended upright, vertically, as close to the bottom of the tank as you can get it. It will then sense the pressure applied by the column of liquid above. And by entering into the user interface, the dimensions of the tank, we can then calculate the volume of the tank and the actual current volume of the tank of the liquid that's inside of there. So it's a basic calculation. If it's a linear tank, for example, the volume is calculated by the length, the height, and the width. So the length and height you enter as you know the size of your tank, and the height is then determined by the pressure that is sensed by this sensor here, giving us the other parameter which allows us to then calculate the actual volume of liquid that is inside of the tank. So here's the tank depth pressure sensor. I'm going to show you an example of how one is actually installed. So you'll see that it comes with this mounting hardware and how it's been mounted on this particular tank here. If the camera comes in and takes a closer look. So the metal plate is screwed onto the tank, and the cable gland will seal up and hold the sensor hanging in its position inside of the tank. And then the other end of this will go back to the interface box, which then goes back to the Sensor Pro Plus. So you may want to put the interface box and this connection in a weatherproof enclosure if you don't have somewhere, or if it's exposed to the elements, as this generator is, then you would want to encase that in something just to keep it weatherproof. And then you can have the SPX Plus or SP2 Plus, SP1 Plus installed back inside of the building. We also have a wireless option for this as well. So you could connect it up to our SPWT and broadcast wirelessly back to the SPWTS. So here is the tank depth pressure sensor in the SP Plus user interface. You can go into its settings and you can adjust its name, and you can view also the tank configuration. And under advanced you can set some other parameters such as the type of graphing data you want to take, instantaneous and so on. And also to minimize false positives, the continuous time to report settings. So if you set that to 5 for example, then it means that the sensor must be in that status for 5 seconds. You can also customize as well the status. Instead of high critical, it may be low fuel warning for low warning and low fuel critical. You probably would want to disable the high critical high warning, which you can do. You can turn off those from the checkboxes you see there. You can uncheck high critical and high warning, so you would only get a low and a low critical status for this particular sensor. In the tank configuration, you can choose if it's a linear tank or a non-linear tank. You can enter the tank details, and you can also choose the type of fluid that we're sensing here. So there's a few different types of fluid already pre-programmed in. Once you're done with your settings, you click save, and then your tank depth pressure sensor is configured and ready to go. After you've configured the sensor, you will want to display it on one of your desktops. So you can simply drag and drop the sensor across onto the desktop, and it will show up as a gauge, and you can see the current status. And then you've also got an option here to switch between a gauge and a graph. Graphing is disabled by default, so you need to enable that, and then the graphing will begin.